Good morning, YouTube. This is Sheila. I have a wonderful recipe for you today. We're going to get right into this video. We are going to cook some lima beans, and I am going to share with you the seasons that I am going to use. We are going to need some accent for this recipe. We are going to need some seasoned salt for the recipe and some pepper. We are going to need some lima beans for this recipe.
And then we're going to cook.
We are going to need some onions for this recipe and some salt pork. So now with this recipe, guys, you can use bacon if you would like.
Yeah.
You can use some smoked neck bones if you like. But I am going to stick with just pepper, seasoned salt, and accent. And maybe a dash or two of regular salt in this recipe. I don't want to use a lot of different salts and seasons in this recipe because we don't want to take that wonderful flavor away from our lima beans, guys. So we're going to start out. And we are going to take our salt pork, guys. And we are going to cut this salt pork up and we're going to boil it. And then we are going to fry our salt pork until it's brown on both sides. And we're going to put our beans on. Okay, guys, with this recipe, when you are frying your salt pork, guys, be really, really careful. Because you're going to have grease popping over everywhere, guys. So be careful with your salt pork. So now that our salt pork is almost brown, we're going to put this recipe together. And we are going to make us some good lima beans, guys. Okay, guys, we have our lima beans in the pot boiling. Now we are going to add our salt meat, guys. Now that we fried our salt meat and our grease, guys, I put a little grease in it because I wanted my salt meat to be kind of crispy. So we're just going to add into the pot, guys. And we are going to take some of that grease and just pour it into the pot. About 2 tablespoons, guys, of that oil that you fried your salt pork in. It's not gonna hurt you, guys. So now I'm gonna put my season into the pot. I got pepper, accent, and my seasoned salt. Then we are going to put a dash of regular salt into our recipe, guys. And we have our onions here. And we are going to add to our recipe. And we are going to let them beans cook for about 1.5 hours, guys, on medium heat. And I guess we got to figure out some meat to go with this recipe, guys. I think we are going to make some smothered pork chops today with this recipe, and maybe a little basmati rice. So anyway, guys, just let your beans cook for about an hour to an hour and a half, and you can let them cook up to 2.5 hours if you like, on medium heat, and serve this recipe over rice. Okay, guys, remember I told you guys we're going to have some smothered pork chops. Now, it's a couple different ways you can make smothered pork chops, but I like to make my smothered pork chops this way sometimes. So I'm going to show you the way that I am going to prepare them today. And I also have another way I like to prepare my smothered pork chops, but we'll get to that on another video. So guys, what I have here is a pan, and my pan is heating up. So we are going to add just some flour, guys, okay? Now I like to cook my pork chops this way, my smothered pork chops this way when I don't want a lot of flour on my meat. So we are just going to take this flour, and we are going to make like a brown gravy, okay, for our pork chops. So what you have to do, guys, when you put this flour into your skillet, you're going to have to stir it really fast until this flour is brown, guys, okay? So keep stirring it, guys. Don't let your flour burn, all right? Because it will burn. This is a fast process. But we are going to use this flour to make us some brown gravy for these pork chops that I am going to prepare. So as you can see, our flour is browning, guys, okay? And we are going to make us some onion and garlic gravy for this recipe, guys. But we need our flour to be brown. Now also, guys, you know, on a video I made last week, I made some gumbo. You can use this flour recipe for your roux for your gumbo also, guys, okay? And that's another video also that I'll be sharing with you. Okay, so now that you see your flour is brown, and I took it off the heat, guys, okay? So then we are going to get into whipping this recipe up, guys. Our smothered pork chops. We're going to take this off the heat. Then we are going to get into our smothered pork chops recipe. All right, guys, we're going to get into our pork chops now. And I am going to show you how I brown my pork chops before I make my gravy, okay? These are thin pork chops, so we're just going to brown them on both sides. And then we are going to take these out the skillet, guys. So we're going to use this old burned up pot my son, young Monte Carlo, he just ruined my pot. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to brown our pork chops on both sides, and we're not going to let these pork chops cook that long, guys, okay? Because they are so thin. You just want them to brown. And then we are going to make our gravy, okay? Alright guys, keep turning them until they get brown. And as you can see, I didn't put a lot of grease in my pan, guys. I just want my pork chops to brown. And then we're going to make us some nice gravy. We got our lima beans cooking in the back over there, and we're going to put us some rice on. Alright guys, we're going to let them brown. Okay guys, what I did with the pork chops is I seasoned them really good on both sides, and I put them in a skillet to let them brown on both sides before we make the gravy. Now guys, because these pork chops are so thin, it's going to take you about 20 minutes to prepare your smothered pork chops. The only thing that I did different that some people do, they take their pork chops and they batter it in like a flour base and they fry it in grease. So what I did is, I just threw my pork chops in here with the season and just letting them brown on both sides. And then we are going to make up some gravy. And we are going to cook up some rice. And we're going to have us a nice dinner this Saturday. Okay guys, we have our pork chops. They are almost ready to come out. And we are going to make our little gravy and mix our recipe up, guys. I'm going to get a little water for our recipe, guys. Okay, guys, so we have our pork chops and they didn't brown, so we're going to take them out. And we're going to throw them over there in that skillet. Okay. And we have our water here we're going to add into our pot. And then we are going to mix our little flour base, guys, and give it a good mix. Maybe a cup of water, guys. We're going to use a cup of water and we're going to add into the pan to make our gravy, our brown gravy. Then we are going to add some garlic and onions into the recipe, guys. And you are going to mix well, guys, okay? Because this is your gravy. Now, also, guys, if you want to make some amazing smothered pork chops, you can cook it in the oven, guys. And, I mean, it's so many ways to make smothered pork chops. Is unbelievable. And over here in the back, we still got our lima beans cooking, guys. They smell so good. So once our gravy comes to a boil, we are going to mix our recipe up, and we're going to put a top on it and let it cook down on medium heat, really low, guys, And then we're going to cook us some rice. And I am going to show you guys my wonderful, wonderful presentation of my dinner tonight. Guys, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Guys, do something wonderful for yourself, okay? Love yourself. Love everybody around you. If you have somebody in your family you ain't talked to in a while and you love them, give them a call. Life is so short. Guys, just do whatever you want to do. Just live, guys, okay? And have some wonderful food at that, guys, okay? Alright, guys, I'm going to see you in the next video. See you later. Have a wonderful weekend, my friends.